Hi, it's your coach Joe Lucas, and I guess welcome to the last week of January. This week I'm actually on strategic, working on a new teams and leadership program, and then jetting off to Atlanta to see one of my platinum partners and to host a Magellan Strategic Day. But that's not what this video or podcast is about. Yesterday, I started to receive like a lot of emails congratulating me on my work anniversary. And I'm like, I got my head down, working on some stuff yesterday. And so I go into my LinkedIn profile, and lo and behold, according to LinkedIn, it's my 24th, yesterday, as a matter of fact, was my 24th anniversary of founding International Performance Group and coaching financial advisors. And I said, wow. And I kind of lost track of that, quite frankly. And so I thought what we do today is kind of be a little random here. But I said, if I was being interviewed on my anniversary, what have I learned in the last 24 years? And just so everybody's very clear, I only work with financial advisors, financial planners, financial consultants. That's it. I don't play around with doctors and lawyers and CPAs and things like that. This has been my sole space for those 24 years. And I really thought about it. I said, well, what does that, how does that equate, right, to what I call one of my metrics, right, one of my KPIs? And, it literally roundabout, because I'm sure there's some kind of here and there, but basically on my calculations and what notes I have and what records I keep, it equates to over 55,000 individual 30-minute coaching calls. Well, that's the way I work, 30 minutes in and out. We're not talking about any group work or, speaking. We're talking about 55 individual one-on-ones or small teams in terms of coaching work. And that blew me away. And then so I say, so what I learned, because and I'm in the trench. So here's the thing real quick. I have no desire, no plan. I'll speak when I need to. If somebody invites me to go speak, I'll speak, and I'll always speak the truth. But I'm not out there kind of pumping books and running around doing keynotes and stuff like that. I am literally in the trenches with my clients, and I've been so for 24 years. And the reason why I do that is I love the relationships. It's very interesting for me. I've never looked at a client as a client. I've looked at them as a human being. I've looked at them in need of help or guidance, right, or breakthrough. And I've always kind of operated that way. I have this fatal flaw, which is I want to help everybody. And I know some of you are like that, right? And you got to balance the kind of nonprofit side, right, with making sure you take care of yourself. And so I really thought about, when I started my career, it was in Lower Manhattan. Here we go, right? My business card had my pager on it. And I had a calling card. I think it was an MCI. I don't know why I just remember that. An MCI calling card. I think that's what it was. And literally, there were payphones, right? Because cell phones were very expensive and they were very big and bulky, and they didn't work real well. And I just remember that, and I remember the industry was all about trades, dropping tickets. I mean, there were some early adapters out there, but financial planning, for the most part, was for the super wealthy, right? Because we're just here to make money in the markets, right? Beat the markets, do a trade. And, here we are 24 years later, and, it's literally inverted, right? Where I believe we're planning-centric or need to be planning-centric. And the concept of dropping tickets is like vinyl records. I mean, they're still around to some degree, right? But they're definitely not mainstream. I think also what it takes to be a financial advisor today is very different than it was 24 years ago. And I think this is why a lot of you still struggle in maybe the second half or the fourth quarter of your careers. When this was transactional based, it was about research, it was about the pitch, it was about, we relied on two basic human emotions. Greed, you want to make money, right? Fear, if you don't do this, you're going to miss out, right? And so, as an industry, we kind of relied on that to drive transactions, to drive tickets. And, humans are not, we're evolving as a species, but we're not evolving that fast. So those two same dynamics still exist. Fear and greed. They just manifest differently now because now we do, portfolio management and plans and holistic planning and asset allocation, but the same principles still apply. The one thing that's been constant, though, in my 24 years is that, I always say this is the ultimate people business. This is the ultimate personal development business, right? And that has been true for the 24 years that I've been doing this. And God willing, when I'm here on my 50th anniversary, we'll probably be doing some hologram 3D stuff by then. Those rules will still apply. It'll still be the ultimate people business. It'll be the ultimate personal development business. So if that's the case, why isn't every advisor wildly successful based on their determination what success is, right? So I don't sit there and say, if you're not doing X, you're a failure. Because I have people that make $250,000 working out of their house and they're wildly successful. And I run across people that make a couple $1,000,000 a year with a big office, big things, big this, and they're totally miserable. So you know what? I don't have it's this or that, right? It's you got to wake up every day comfortable in who you are, right? That you know who you are and you know why you do what you do. And more importantly, you know the value you create with others, because this industry suffers from a confidence crisis, an identity crisis. Because as we evolve now, right? Well, what are we? We robos coming in and all this AI stuff, and what's going to disappear, and so, I have a very unique place in the industry because I play in a lot of different segments and I see a lot of things. I see trends a lot of times before maybe a lot of other people do. And look, first off is this: we're not going to be AI. We're not going to be roboed out of the industry. Human beings. Look, here's the reality: human beings need human beings to interact with. We are still a culture of tribes. That is in our DNA, right? Nobody gets locked in a room or in a cave back when, right? So we are still going to interact with people. The difference is that we're going to have this real technology chassis bolted on, and for a lot of you, that scares you because you're not exactly tech comfortable, right? And so you resist it, right? And you rationalize it, right? Well, it's not going to happen. All that. Well, that's a fad. And here's the thing: the early adopters are already in, so they're gone. I mean, that happened like in the last 5 years. It's time now for you to kind of get with the program, because if you don't get the program, you're going to be at a real competitive disadvantage. Okay, very important. I think over the next 5 years that our industry will change more in the next 5 years than it did in the last 15 years, and it changed a lot. You have two things happening, which I think are interesting from my perspective. You have the boomers retiring, and you have a lot of advisors exiting the industry. So, simple math, a lot of money in motion, right? A lot of opportunities. Last year, 2017, we added it up finally. We finally got the final numbers and everybody, and we blew the doors off of asset acquisition last year. All my clients across the board. Everybody, for the most part, everybody had, record or near record year. Some people just blew it way out. And here we are at the end of January of a new year, and it hasn't abated. In fact, if anything, it's probably accelerated. So, you've got to decide what mindset you want to have. You're going to sit there and be in scarcity mode and survival mode, or you're going to be in abundance and opportunity mode. Because, there's two columns here, and that's it. There's not this third thing here. So you're either in abundance, opportunity mode, or you're in scarcity survival mode. That's it. There's two boxes, period. And let me say this: if you're not conscious, you will end up with one that you may not like, right? Now, when I said a minute ago, this is the ultimate personal development business, what I mean is basically you, right? Me. Here's a dirty little secret. There's not much difference between what you do and I do, right? At the end of the day, what's our primary cause? What's our primary goal? To improve people, to improve the lives of people, to make them better, to make their situation better, right? To move the needle. Now, I do it with you, right? Making your business better, elevating you. Because if I make you and your business better, guess what? You can serve at a higher level. You can give back at a higher level. You're happier at a higher level. That's my purpose. That's what I do. This industry chose me. I didn't choose it. It's just one of those random things in life, right? But I've amassed a knowledge base over 55,000 coaching sessions in 24 years that I don't think anybody in the industry has. I'm not knocking any of my colleagues. What I do at a very, very deep level, and I do it massively, right? What you need to get around, a lot of you, is that you are the challenge and you are the solution for your own situation. And it's about being uncomfortable. The one thing that I've learned over these last couple of years, so again, I'm always evolving, right? I'm always rethinking things, is that we as human beings, most of us crave comfort. We crave certainty, right? We crave these things. And in our industry, here's kind of what it looks like sometimes. It can look like I make a couple $100,000 a year. I'm kind of comfortable, but I'm bored. Because you're not going after anything, because you accept being comfortable, right? What I tell people today is, look, if you want to grow, if you want to elevate, if you want to achieve in this industry, or I think in life in general, you have to be willing to get uncomfortable. Now, it doesn't mean you have to go to be crazy, but you have to be willing to get outside your comfort zone. And, when you're younger, I think, and this may be a bias, but this is what I believe. I think as you're younger, you're not as locked into those comfort zones because you don't have that much life experience, right? So it's a little easier. As we get a little older, it kind of becomes, kind of the norm, and we can get locked into it pretty easily. And in our industry, it's kind of a sinister thing because you're still making money, you're still paying your bills, you're kind of still doing things, but you're not going for it. It's not, there's no excitement, right? And when there's no excitement, we get bored, we start looking around, we stop doing things, and then the next thing you know, you created a job for yourself, a boring job. Now you're still making money, but we're not going after it because you don't have a higher cause. Here's the thing. If you're waking up in the morning trying to figure out how am I going to make money today, how am I going to drop some tickets today, what client or prospect can I call and sell, right? You will probably be that way for the rest of your career. And for some of you, that's where you've been your entire career. And by the way, that's a clue. Maybe we should think about shifting something, right? I look at success today in this industry. It's really about the service of others. We are so wrapped up in our own stuff, and I mean this. I get emails from. I read and I scan all the industry stuff out there, right? And man, if you just read our industry stuff, you would think like this is everything that goes on in the world, right? And at the end of the day, it's not, right? But again, certain organizations have to make it that way. It's why they pay their bills, right? Sensationalizing things and making your eyeballs. Look, all of us are totally overloaded with email and messaging and things like that, right? It's what it is. Especially, I think, in this industry. I mean, the email is ridiculous between wholesalers, companies, corporate, people that sell you stuff. It's crazy, right? And it's all this noise, and it's easy to get caught up in that noise if you don't know what your core function is. You're there to help other human beings. Core deliverable, primary objective, if you like, right? But if you don't take care of you, and if you don't have a vision, and if you don't have a higher cause, why would you want to get up early? I'm writing this little note right now. I don't know when I'm going to release it. I'm still kind of meandering through it. I say, Joe, what's a typical day for you? And I really thought about it. I said, well, maybe I'll write, and I'm going to post this on LinkedIn, by the way, a day in the life. And I'm going to take one of my tactical coaching days and literally go item by item from 5:30 a.m. till about 9 p.m. and what that all looks like. And it's, I started to kind of write it out a little bit, and it's pretty intense. Conversations I have for those clients. I'm going to make sure your names are off, so don't worry about. We're not going to broadcast anything. And at the end of everything, it boils down to you decide. You have to feel, or you have to have a belief that you decide your future. You decide your destiny here. I will say this, it's not for lack of opportunity. So if any of you are watching or listening to me and like you're frustrated, here we are in a new year, at the end of the first month, and you're already frustrated again, right? Because you're not meeting your expectations. Maybe it's time for a shift. Maybe you need to think differently. And let me say this also. I think a lot of you suffer in models and platforms. And what I mean by that is, Wirehouse versus IBD versus RAA. Here's what I'd say, if you're waking in the morning knowing you're not in the right place, suck it up, figure it out, get in the right place. Life is too short to suffer, okay? And I'm not sitting here saying, and I'm not here to say one's better than the others, because I've got clients in all three. So I'm not going to sit there and say A versus B versus C. I'm saying this, if you're not happy where you are, change where you are, right? Because it's not going to change. You're not going to wake up one day and from miserable to utopia in the same facility, in the same environment. It will not happen. And all you're going to do is squander time, right? I've seen it in my 24 years. I've never, and I could say this with absolute congruency, I've never had anybody change their environment, change their model, change their platform from channel to channel to channel that way. I've never had anybody regret that. Never. In fact, the common theme is I should have done it way sooner. So take that under advisement for those of you who need to, get your head around that. And I guess the other piece too is, we want to help others, but we also can't be a nonprofit. And I think a lot of you suffer from that. I know some in the past, from time to time, I've kind of gotten that affliction, right? Where you just want to help. And so what happens is you help, but then you don't value yourself. And that's in this industry, very dangerous combination, because you'll end up doing a lot of work for people who sometimes really appreciate it, for sometimes they don't, and you're not compensated for your time. And I want to reiterate, the one resource that we all have in limited amounts is time. You got to make sure that if you're going to spend several hours with somebody, that it's a win-win relationship, right? Otherwise, you're going to operate as a nonprofit. And look, and that's your goal, and that's your whole business model, I give you a lot of credit. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but then accept that, right? That you're not going to make a ton of money or a lot of money, or you're going to be kind of in that zone, right? If that's what you want. But if that's not what you want, then you've got to value yourself. And, I've always said this, your business is a reflection of your psychology. Your business is a reflection of your mindset. And that's the beauty. See, the beautiful thing I love working in this space, I can look at somebody's business and I know who the person is by how their business is. And what do all of you try to do? Because here come the practice management people, and here come the silver bullet salesman, right? We've got this great. I still hear today. There's this list of qualified investors. There's this list of people that are unhappy with their current advisor. And like we think, oh man, that list is going to change. This is going to change my life, right? Or this new seminar program is going to change my life, right? Or this new drip marketing system. Now the big thing is, internet marketing. Man, I got to get me around to some internet marketing because that's going to change everything, right? I still think the jury's out on that. I got some clients playing with Facebook ads and playing with some things here, primarily to fill workshops, right? To do events like that. But we're not selling stuff. We're giving stuff away. Come hear me talk, right? So that's interesting, right? But man, there's some companies out there that, boy, if you're not out there, on the internet selling stuff and doing, internet marketing, man, you're missing the boat. Haven't seen it. Greatest seminar thing. Haven't seen it. Because at the end of the day, if you're looking to fix your business by fixing your business, you're looking in the wrong place. This is what I've learned over 24 years. And there's nothing wrong with this. So let me be very clear. I'm not trying to disparage the practice management people out there or anything like that. I mean, they are part of an equation, but they are not the entree. They're maybe the appetizer, maybe the condiment. The entree is your own mindset. That's where it all starts and stops, right? And I think a lot of you, what you do is you try to buy your way out of misery. So you'll go do this. And I've seen this, right? And we can go back to audio business cards, right? To DVD called business cards, right? You go get them, go 300 of them, right? Here they are stacked on the wall. Don't even send them out, right? You write books. You do all this stuff. And because you think at the end of the day, that's what I need. And what you really need is look in the mirror every morning and like what you see and be comfortable with it. The best advice I can give anybody in this space, right? Systems are important, processes are important, KPIs are important, but even if I took everything that's important there and stacked it on the scale, like the scale of justice, right? And I put your mindset on the other side, it's not even close. It's like lead and feathers. It's not even close. So what I'm going to say before we wrap up today, I know I'm kind of random, and I guess I'm just kind of grabbed a cup of coffee this morning, got up, and realized I've been doing this now for 24 years. Is I don't care if you're 1 year in the business or 35 years in the business or 40 years in the business. You have 100% of your career left, and the beauty of our space is we're not airline pilots. We don't have to retire at any mandatory age. I've got clients in their 70s who are vibrant, who are kicking ass, doing things, right? And so, I don't care if you're 50 or 60, you can have another 25-year run in this thing if you want it, if your health holds up, right? So you've got to decide, how do you want your last years, the last decades, the last whatever, how do you want it to define you? See, for me, I've already made a decision, a conscious decision, that I am going to coach 50 years in this space, 50. So based on LinkedIn's math, right, I've got another 26 years to go. So I'm at halftime, right? And I know that my second half of my career is gonna blow the doors off the first half, because I think the first half was like training, right? Learning, 55,000 individual sessions, getting all that knowledge, right? All those experiences, right? And look, everybody in the space needs a coach, and I'm not applying for the job. I've got a very good practice. I'm boutique-y. I work pretty much on referral, and I'm very happy. But here's what I will say: find somebody you resonate with, right? A human being. So don't get caught up in the big company, coaching thing, and it's all about processes. If they look at you as an account, and they don't give a shit about you as a human being, you'll get you get some cool things. It won't be the game changer for you. It just won't. I've got clients that have been with me 23 years. 2 guys in New Jersey. Clients like 4 and 5, I swear to you, right? We were in diapers together. We sent our kids off to college together. It's amazing, right? You don't get that kind of depth of relationship by just screwing around, right? Think about that. You have to reinvent yourself, right? You got to keep adding value. Look, nobody stays with me because I'm boring them to death. People stay with me because I'm always out there in the front line. Here's where we need to be in 5 years. Here's where we need to be in 5 years. Here's what we need to start thinking. Here's what our beliefs need to be, right? You get out there, you get out there, you get out there. So go find somebody like that. Find somebody you can really connect with, that you resonate with. Quite frankly, who's going to care about you as a person and a business. Not just how many slots. And here's the other thing. If they got to sell you hard on work, if they got to sell you hard on signing up, it's probably not the right group to be with. Because I believe what I do, I can't sell it. You either see the value in what I produce, you get to know me, you say, this is the guy that's going to help me get across the goal line, or he's not. Pretty simple stuff, right? But make a decision. If you want to just make some money, and that's okay, then that's okay. But if this resonated with you today, and you want to go ahead and really do something magical, masterful, really leave a legacy, make a huge difference, have thousands of people come to your funeral, right? If that's important to you. That's, for me, that's my thing. When I'm gone, I want to be missed. I want there to be a hole in the space where I am, right? Because that means to me, I've lived a meaningful life. I've had impact with people. That's what I want. What do you want? Thanks for listening. I'll be here for the next 50 years, 25 years. Bye.